Good morning all, my name is Mally and here with me I have Charlotte, Tian and Liam. Today we will be conducting a panel to address a concern that has been raised by a parent in our community. How our school meets and plans to meet the needs of a child who has autism spectrum disorder, or more commonly referred to as ASD. We will be sharing information about specific programs and approaches that are in place at the school that aim to support children with ASD, and how we plan and continue to support equity and social justice within the classroom. Here at Woombye State School, we comprise of 479 enrolments from prep through to grade 6, with a total of 254 boys and 225 girls. 5% of these being Indigenous and 3% speaking English as a second language. We stand by our goal to provide a supportive and caring community that delivers outstanding educational training and opportunities for all our diverse students within our community. By doing this, we prioritise equity and do our best to work towards creating a community that is free from stereotype, limitations of perspectives, and inherent bias. Our school's ethos works towards focusing on the individual child, encouraging each child, parent, caretaker, community member, or anyone else involved to use the same approach as we do our best to provide the necessary resources and opportunities for these children, while still including them in the typical classroom routines when possible. In accordance to this, we stand by a strengths-based approach as it is most aligned to our values and goals as a school, as we create learning opportunities unique to each individual to help them excel. I will now pass on to my colleagues to discuss more specifically about the specific programs that we have in place for our students with ASD.
Thank you, Mally, for that warm welcome. I would also like to welcome everyone who can join us this morning for this panel meeting. As most of you know, Woombye State School is dedicated to ensuring students' needs and requirements are met while focusing on their learning. Our school is lucky enough to have student services and assistance programs implemented to guide and encourage many students. Our disability programs offer students and classrooms an inclusion teacher, which aligns with Autism Queensland's recommendations and requirements and the Disability Standard for Education. These teachers work with students who have been verified with a disability in different situations and work towards ensuring inclusion is maximised in school activities by negotiating required adjustments to academic, sporting and social occasions. Supporting students with autism spectrum disorder, more commonly known as ASD, is our high priority in ensuring that all students receive an equitable and accessible education. Therefore, one of our main priorities is to make sure that every student diagnosed with ASD is catered for with a teacher aide and an inclusion teacher with whom the student is familiar and comfortable. Additionally, we have developed an academic support program for students with autism spectrum disorder that is based on academic research and is supported by the Queensland Government. The classroom teachers are also allowed to extend and practice their knowledge of implementing strategies to cater to students with ASD. This links with BST's socialisation education domain that focuses on the promotion of learning to do what others do while becoming a part of society. It is a balanced approach through PD sessions as teachers are learning to cater to the students' social, emotional and academic needs. Without the dedication and talent of our team, we would not have been able to deliver such a successful program. Thank you. Now I hand on to Tian and Liam.
May I extend my welcome to all the parents here today, and thank you to the parent who proposed this question to our panel. As discussed, we have a great deal of support from the school to further aid our students who have ASD. From the perspective of a classroom teacher, there are many avenues to consider when approaching the teaching of a child with ASD, particularly as the range of capabilities, learning preferences, materials, and behaviours vary greatly between each student on the spectrum. However, it needs to be acknowledged that regardless of any disability, your children come to school to learn and they have a right to an equal and equitable education, and it is our job as educators to give all students the best opportunities in their learning. With equitable opportunities in mind, considerations for a broad range of strategies can be implemented with direction from the student and their parent or carer. The process for this begins with a discussion with the parent and their child as to gain an understanding of the child, how they best learn, and the interests they have, leading way to considerations towards sensory processing. What can I do in my classroom to alleviate the stress that any of these processes have on the child, making my classroom a more comfortable place for them to learn in? Or what elements can I add to my lessons to appeal more to the child and cater to their sensory needs? Moreover, tools such as visual aids, organisers and timetables lend assistance to students with ASD, providing opportunities to understand the task at hand, communicate about their learning, their needs and their current state of emotion, and visual aids assist in structuring their thoughts and their learning, proving largely beneficial to their academic and emotional well-being. After an understanding of the student's preferred method of learning is gained, that allows us as teachers to move forward and modify lessons and add additional classroom supports to build an environment that is equitable to all students and their way of learning. In terms of social and emotional well-being and support, regular check-ins, whether that by visual aids or coloured colouring card systems depicting how each student felt about different tasks or activities, will allow myself as the educator to make further adjustments if needed. This provides small opportunities throughout the day for students to take a moment and reflect on themselves and their learning. These additions or modifications to lessons are not only going to be supporting any students with ASD, but all other students in the class as well. These methods are not to single out our students with ASD, but will provide opportunities for all students to access the curriculum and reach their potential alongside their peers.
I'd like to add to what Tian was saying. It is our goal as educators to support our students and help them develop the skills necessary to function within society. Within the classroom, we utilise a universal design for learning approach, which allows us to not only support students with ASD, but also it allows us to promote equity and support all students with their learning. The development of social and emotional skills is important because students with ASD have difficulties engaging appropriately in social situations and can misunderstand the intentions of other students. This can lead to students developing issues with anxiety, stress, frustration, and can lead to students being the victims of bullying. To prevent this, strategies are implemented that aim to develop the social, communication skills, and emotional capacities of students while creating an inclusive culture within the classroom. An example of this is the teaching strategy of group work, or collaborative learning as it's also known. Group work involves students working together as they participate in a learning task. When engaging in group work, students develop communication, organisation, and academic skills. They learn how to articulate their point of view, take turns, listen to other points of view, ask questions, and reason with others. For students with ASD, a teacher must use their judgment and knowledge of their students to know who works well together. We can use the learning profile that Tian mentioned, which is created through discussions with the parents and caregivers, the student themselves, support staff within the school, a range of assessment tools, and any relevant professional services, such as paediatricians and occupational therapists, to identify the best way to involve them in group activities. When grouping students with ASD, a teacher can include them in groupings that work to their strengths, such as interest groups, where they're grouped with students with a similar interest in the topic, or friendship groups, where the students are grouped with those they have been shown to work well with. This strategy also allows students the opportunity to work alongside a student with ASD, which helps develop an understanding of ASD, therefore working towards developing an inclusive culture within the classroom.
Thank you to everyone who has joined us today. We hope that the information supplied was helpful and that we cleared any concerns or questions that you may have had. If at any point throughout the year you have any more questions or concerns, please know that our door is always open. Thank you so much.